Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, The Bulletproof Life. My name is Ronke Odewumi and I'm delighted to have you here. Today, I'm going to be telling you how to buy your house, the step-by-step process you need to follow to buy your house. Now, before we go right into that topic, can you take a minute to press the like button for me? This is so that YouTube can share my video with other people who are interested in this topic. So let's get right into today's topic. The first step you need to take in buying a house is to check your mortgage suitability with a broker. That simply means you visit a broker and they type in your details, your name, your income, and then they tell you how much of a mortgage you are likely to get. This also helps you have in perspective how much house you can buy in the neighborhood you like. So if you go to a mortgage broker, for example, and they tell you that based on your income, your age, and the number of other factors that the mortgage broker is going to type into their system, the banks or the building societies are likely to give you a loan of £200,000. If you're planning to save a deposit of £30,000, then you know that the house you are going to buy should be worth about £230,000. You're not going to go for a £500,000 house because the suitability test has now told you that you're likely to get only £200,000. So the first step in buying a house is to check your mortgage suitability with a broker. It's also an opportunity to find out if there are other things impacting your mortgage stability. A good broker will tell you if there are things on your file that's dragging down how much the lender can borrow you to get a mortgage. Now that you know your mortgage suitability, you know how much you're likely to get, it's time to go back home and start saving for that deposit. Start saving up for the extras. Start saving up for the money that you're going to put down for your mortgage. Don't forget to watch the video where I talked about saving up for your mortgage. It's a video that's going to help you to save up quickly for your mortgage. So if you haven't watched that video, please watch it. This second step of saving up your deposit and all the extras can take quite a while. So if you have already reached that point and you've saved up your deposit and your extras, congratulations to you. I'm clapping for you here. Well done. It's a very big step. Now it's time to move on to step number 3. And step number 3 is for you to get a mortgage in principle. You can go back to the same broker that checked your suitability for you, or you can try a new broker to get a mortgage in principle. You can also get a mortgage in principle online. You will be able to fill in your details and get a mortgage in principle. Now, the purpose of a mortgage in principle is to show to the agents who are trying to sell a house that you are able to get a mortgage in the UK. So once you get a mortgage in principle, print it out, save it on your system, because you're going to be asked about it when you go and look at some houses. Some agents don't ask you, but others will ask you, do you have a mortgage in principle? And it kind of smooths the process. So the number 3 step you need to take is to get a mortgage in principle. Once you have your mortgage in principle, the next step now is to start house hunting. It's time to start looking at houses and start checking them out and visiting them. There are various ways you can house hunt, and one of them before the pandemic was to visit a house agent and ask them about the houses they have on their books for sale. But now we're not doing that, so we're going to stick with the method which I used and which a lot of people use, and it's simply by searching online using websites like Rightmove and Zoopla, where they list houses for sale. Once you look at the website, you can use filters to reduce the number of rooms or to choose the number of rooms you want. I want a 3-bedroom, I want a garden, I want parking. Using those filters will help you filter out houses that you don't even want to see at all. Because if you don't use those filters, you're going to end up looking at houses that you don't like. So it's always good to use the filters. Filter out houses that don't have the criteria you need. So that's another important point. You need to have a criteria for house hunting. So write it out. Do you want 3 bedrooms? Do you need a garden? Do you want parking? Do you want a shared house? What do you want? So you look for the houses that you want on Rightmove or Zoopla, and then you call up the agents and book appointments to see those houses. The beauty of house hunting is that initially you think you know what you want, but then you start looking and then you realize, actually, I want a bigger kitchen, or actually, I'd rather have a smaller living room than not have a bathroom downstairs. Initially, I thought I didn't want a loo downstairs, but now I think I do. And then also, you might start out thinking you want a very old house, but once you've visited a few old houses, you might decide against it. At the same time, you might start out thinking, oh, I just want a really new house. And then once you visit the old houses, the charm grows on you and you decide you want an old house. So house hunting helps you really determine what you want and find your dream house. So once you found your dream house, the next thing you need to do is to make an offer. Now, let me tell you a few tricks. When you go house hunting and you find a house you like, be careful not to be effusive in praise for the house. Don't go on about how beautiful, how perfect, how great it is, because it impacts your negotiating abilities. Secondly, listen very well when you're house hunting to what the house owners say. Ask questions, open doors, sit in rooms, look around, ask questions. Most importantly, ask questions. If you don't ask, you don't find out. Also, when you ask questions, you might find out if the seller is really keen to sell, if they are desperate to sell their house, which can help with your negotiating, or if they are sitting on the fence and they're not so keen about selling the house. Once you find your dream house, it's time to make an offer. Go ahead and make an offer. It's fine to make an offer that's slightly lower than what the seller initially says. Yes, that's how you negotiate. If the house is being sold for £200,000, you can make an offer of 180. You can make an offer of 190,000 and see if the seller agrees. They might be able to meet you halfway. Also, when you look at a house, you might find that there is work to be done. The bathroom is old, the boiler needs changing, the garden is overrun. All of those points can help you drive down the price a little bit. You might then be able to say, look, I need to do that garden, or I need to change this bathroom. Look at it. It's looking funny. It's leaking. All of these things will help you negotiate your offer. Once your offer is accepted, congratulations, you go back to your mortgage broker. Your mortgage broker will then look for a good mortgage deal for you, bearing in mind your mortgage suitability, the mortgage in principle that you have. Then they will look for the right deal for you. The idea of finding you a good deal is to find you a deal that allows you to have a convenient monthly payment with a good interest rate, nothing too high, nothing too heavy, and allows you to pay your mortgage over a number of years that's convenient for you. It's usually 20, 25, 30 years thereabout, depending on your age. That's something that impacts how long your mortgage will be for. Then your mortgage broker will find you a good deal. There are two kinds of mortgage deals your broker can get for you. The first one is an interest-only mortgage, which is where you are paying just the interest on the loan from the lender. In that case, your monthly payments will be quite low. The second kind of mortgage deal they can get for you is a principal and interest mortgage. And this is where you are paying interest on the loan, but you are also paying off a part of the loan. For this one, your monthly payment will be a little bit higher. But the benefit of getting an interest and principal mortgage is that it allows you to chip away at the loan you have from the lender. I'm personally an advocate of getting a principal and interest mortgage because it allows you to pay off your mortgage. When you get an interest-only mortgage, you are not paying off the loan. You are only paying interest on the loan. So that's just one thing I wanted to mention about you getting a mortgage deal. The next thing you need to do now is to get a solicitor who's going to carry out conveyancing on the house for you. That simply means all the legalities, all the payments you need to make, all the checks you need to make, all the legal steps that need to be carried out will be done by the solicitor. And their prices usually range between 1,000 and 2,000. I know I'm giving you a big range, but that's how much they usually go for to carry out conveyancing. Once you've got a mortgage deal with your mortgage broker and you've hired a solicitor to carry out your conveyancing, the next thing you need to do is to hire a surveyor. A surveyor is going to go into the house and do their job. They're going to survey it. They're going to find out if there are things you need to watch out for, if there is work that needs to be done, if there are leaks, if there are electrical issues. They look at the whole house. They come back with a figure for you. They come back and tell you, these are the things you need to watch out for. These are the changes you need to make. These are the works that's going to happen in the house. You're going to change the boiler in 2 years' time. You need to look at the piping. The electricals is not working. Now, if your surveyor comes back with a huge amount of work, you can go back to the seller and renegotiate your offer. But if your surveyor comes back with, day-to-day tiny changes here and there, you don't need to go back to the seller. You just become aware of those things that need to be done in the house and you factor them in for the future. Your mortgage lender is also going to send their own surveyor into the house to make sure that the house you are getting is what you say it is, that the value that they are getting it for is okay with them as a lender, because they're also going to value the house. Your surveyor who you get will also tell you, what they think the house is worth based on their surveying, which is expected to be around the range you're paying it for. Of course, if your surveyor comes back with a figure that's very far away from the offer, you can go back to your seller and have that conversation. So you've instructed your surveyor to do their job. You've instructed your lawyer to do conveyancing. It's time for you to sit back and wait for them to do their job. They will keep you updated as you go. They will keep you updated about the fees you have to pay that they've paid for you, which is included in the charge, the 1,000 to 2,000 charge I talked about. They will include those fees in there and your lawyer will make all those payments for you. It's time for you to reach out to your current landlord to let them know that you're looking to move out soon, especially if your house has a notice period that's quite big. If it's not, you can still hold on till the next stage, which is the exchange of contracts. So once your lawyer is happy with the conveyancing process, the survey is done, or your lawyer has made filings with the council, they are happy with the state of the house is not crumbling and all of that, the lawyer will instruct you to do an exchange of contract. This is the point where once you sign the lines, you cannot go back without charges. Once contracts are exchanged, you will pay a hefty fee if you decide not to buy the house anymore. So at that point, the house is practically yours. You've bought a house. So you sign on the exchange of contract and you're a house owner. The last stage now is completion. Now, before you go into completion, you now need to inform the landlord where you are renting that you're moving out. And then you need to get home insurance. This is because once contracts have been exchanged, if anything happens to the house at this point, you are somewhat liable for it, you are impacted. So it's good for you to put home insurance in place. I always advise that time between the exchange of contracts and completion should be short. Don't let it go on for too long. This is a conversation you should have with your seller and with your lawyer, at the beginning of the process, that you want a short exchange period. I've heard of people who exchange and then they are still waiting to complete 6 months or a year later. That's not a good plan. A lot can happen in that space and you are liable for that house. So once you exchange your contract, invite your lawyer and your seller's lawyer to speed up the process so you can complete in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, even in a week. You can complete quickly if your lawyer and the other lawyer work together, they collaborate together to make that happen. So the next step now is for you to complete. Once you complete, the house is completely yours. You're going to get the keys to the house. You can move in the next day after completion. In fact, I moved into my house the very weekend after we completed. So yes, the next thing now is to complete on your house and the house is completely yours. Also, at the point of completion, the seller is required to move out of the house. If the seller is in the house for a day or two after completion, it has to be with your permission. So your seller cannot continue to be in the house beyond completion. Once you exchange contract, your seller starts to plan to move out. They start working to move out. There's a completion date in sight, which they are working towards, which you are both working towards and aware of. And so that once you complete, the house is all yours and you should be getting an empty house on the day of completion. A good trick is that once you are aware of your completion date, you can book movers. Hopefully the date won't change and then your movers can come in and help you move. But if you're not using movers and you're just moving yourself, then you can get moving right after you get your keys and it's time to move into your new house. So these are the steps for buying a house in the UK. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please press the like button. Drop me a comment to let me know if you did something different in your house buying process or if you are in the house buying process and you're going to be using these steps. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, friends, please do it by pressing the button on your right. Don't forget to press the bell so you can get notifications every time I share a new video. I love hanging out with you and it's been amazing doing this video for you. Until my next video, you take care of yourself and keep living that bulletproof life. Bye-bye.